what in the wide world of sports is going on out here. Look at this. We've had like 4 or 5 inches of snow today. Boop. It is November 11th. I took some footage when it was safe to do so on my drive home, because I never really know how this is going to truly look on camera when I shoot out of the driveway like this, but we'll show you what the roads were like for the commute home. The sippy cup here did pretty well, always does. So I've been wanting, that's better. So I've been wanting to make like a year-end or season-end review on this thing and just let you guys know how it worked out, because you saw the first mowing of the season, it went poorly, and what my preparations were to get started. So I just figured I'd update, I know at least there's a couple guys on the channel that are into Cubs too. Thought I'd update them a little bit. The parts on the hood are the stuff that fell off of it this year, kind of. Truthfully, I think those parts fell off like a year or two ago. That definitely fell off this year. That piece goes down on the deck tensioner. I'll show you that later. But miraculously, I managed to find it on the next lap around the yard. Usually if something falls off in the yard, you're done forever. Anyhow, all in all though, she did pretty good. The front tires are junk. You guys already knew that. I've got the new ones back up yonder there now that the season's over, and I think we can agree the season's definitely over around here. But it freaks me out, man. Last time I mowed was 3 weeks ago. It was like October 23rd, something like that, and it's November 11th, and there's like going to be 7 or 8 inches of snow. And you know, I don't live in North Dakota or anything, man. I live in northern Indiana. This isn't unprecedented for us, but it's weird. We don't normally get this much snow for another couple months. So I'm also kind of bummed that we didn't get a chance to get a Johansson ready to go. The sippy cup's gonna have to take some abuse. So front tires on this thing we know are junk. I've got new ones lined up, need to get those swapped over this winter. I think the wheel bearings in it are fine. We'll find out when I jack it up to take the tires off eventually. I totally was not able to fix that transmission leak, and in fact it got way, way worse. That leak is, when we went in that video, there's like that front section of the pump, and where it was leaking on that back gasket, there's gaskets inside there like I thought there was, and I'm sure those have failed. So I need to order those gaskets and pull that stuff apart and seal that up. Engine oil leak is freaking primo though. That cam cover did everything we needed it to. This thing has never leaked that little engine oil, so that's completely awesome. The couple of new advents of this season, I think, are, I'm pretty sure that muffler is smoked. I haven't really looked at it, but the thing, you know, I always wear hearing protection when I'm using stuff like this. I really like loud music, and if I'm gonna lose my hearing, I'm gonna do it doing something that I enjoy. And listening to a 40, 50-year-old single slug engine isn't my idea of fun particularly. So if I'm gonna go deaf, I'm gonna do it for fun, not for work. So I'm pretty careful with my hearing, except when I don't want to be. But anyway, even with my hearing protection, I could tell the muffler on this thing getting loud, and I like getting even more weird looks from the neighbors than usual. So it's probably time to do something about that. And you guys also saw that there's something up with the deck carriage or the deck hanger, that the deck isn't lifting evenly. Well, that got worse throughout the year, whatever's going on. It's actually dipping that side of the deck. And in particular, when I back up, it's starting to like scrape that side of the deck into the yard. So there's definitely something broke there, and I think it actually did break a support on the deck. And I'll take you off the tripod here in a second and show you some of this stuff. But all in all, when you're mowing with a 50-year-old tractor that's been neglected its whole life, and all that happened in the season is you had to put air in a tire every time you went out to mow. That shear pin that or I guess isn't a shear pin, that drive pin I knew would be a problem when I put it back in this spring, was a problem. It left me stranded and I had to go take care of that. And we missed on a transmission oil leak, but otherwise it's worked just fine. It was just leaking. That's not bad. The thing only, oh yeah, and all that stuff with the brake linkage. We did get that sorted out. That's all been fine. So that's kind of the brakes on a machine like this, literally. But really, after the first month of teething in the season, thing was, as much as it goes, pretty much flawless. So let's yank you off the tripod and let's look at some of this other stuff. So let's start with the parts that fell off. We're going to go for the right-hand guy there. And he goes right in here like so. And it's actually a lock for this pulley right here. That's what this tab and it's for, is that tab fits over the frame. And it when you push it in and push that tab down, or maybe it goes up, I'm not sure, it releases the tension on the mower deck drive belt. So you can take the deck off and stuff like that. Well, since this fell off while I was mowing, and I didn't need to, actually I think I did have to put a new belt on it. I take it back. Like, I'd forgotten all about it because it's so quick, so I always keep a couple in stock. I did have to throw a new mower deck drive belt on it quick this year. And when I did that, I just picked this thing up off the bench, shoved it in, did the job, threw it back up on the bench and got to mowing. So this is really no big deal. There's just a bolt in there that's all wallowed out that a nut goes on, so this just nuts and bolts on, but no real huge deal. We'll put that back on. I'll show you when I do it. You'll get a better idea. This stuff, this guy is part of the engine air shrouding, and this is a bracket that actually holds the muffler to it, and this broke off, like I said, I think last year, maybe even longer ago, I'm not sure. And I'll show you where it all goes. It goes right there. And these brackets or these sheet metal air shrouds are not really all that thick, but so they tend to do stuff like that. They vibrate, and I mean, the stuff's 50 years old, stuff happens. So I just need to weld that back on. I'll probably put like a little fish plate over the top of it and beef it back up. Haven't taken a lot of time to concern myself about the actual condition of the muffler, but it just sounds freaking loud. I'm probably just going to outright buy a new one. It's interesting, you guys can see down in there. Looks like it's maybe kind of carboned up. That may or may not be good. But anyway, this muffler, who knows how old it is. It's probably just time to get a new one and get it done. Now onto our problem with the deck. It's hilarious. You guys can see I mowed so recently all that dead grass is still green. The tires are still green. Normally that stuff turns brown after a little while. But every time I would back up, this wheel would just dig dirt. So weirdly, it was only happening in reverse. And I actually think, it's kind of hard to see now, but I actually think some of the welds on that guy might be broken off this deck now. Probably my fault just from abuse. Right there, I'm pretty sure that's a crack through the deck. Yeah, that's definitely a crack in the deck. So this thing, whatever's going on that isn't picking the deck up right, has ended up dropping this side of the deck so far. I put enough pressure on it by being a jackass and not fixing the tractor. But again, if the tractor doesn't take itself down during mowing season, we don't mess with it. That I cracked this out on the deck. Shouldn't be a big deal to repair that if I want. And ultimately, I'm not really too interested in using this deck long term. This is a 44-inch deck, and I have two 50-inch decks, and I'd rather run a 50. But of course, that's not perfect either. So anyway, this is going to need addressed, and whatever's going on with the lift carriage is going to need figured out. But other than that stuff, it did pretty well. And again, if you're not familiar with these or old stuff and whatever, you're going to think this all sounds like a disaster. This is completely normal. It's completely normal for me to have these issues with this tractor, or these old tractors. Just the way it goes. Some of the stuff could have been prevented, my abuse or my ignorance or whatever, like that leak. I could have fixed that right the first time had I really realized where it was leaking. Whatever's broken on the deck, that's my fault. I should have fixed whatever was broken before that broke it worse. This is why we have every spring fix the tractor time, because every summer more stuff breaks, and as it breaks, we just keep going around the whole tractor, and eventually less stuff will break. In fact, like I said before, this has been a pretty good year for the thing. I can't complain much. There's the year-end update on it. We'll probably see it again, if I'm guessing, probably 2 weeks after the first time I should have been mowing is probably the next video you guys will see of it, and I'll have my ass in gear and behind the 8-ball again, because that's what always happens. But anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed the update. Thanks for stopping in. We'll catch you on the next one.